Welcome to this podcast, My Positive Birth, a little corner of the internet where I will be collecting positive stories from women birthing their babies across the UK. My name is Lisa. I'm a doula in southwest London. I have 3 children and 2 positive birth stories. You may have tuned into this podcast as a pregnant mum, an expectant parent, a birth geek like me, a birth partner, or somebody working in this area. Whoever you are, we can all learn so much by listening to the positive stories of women and families who have gone before us. What their birth experience was like, what they did, how they felt, how they feel now, a few months or even years later. So come and surround yourself with positive birth stories, told in women's own words. And I hope you'll find a village here to calm you, but also to inspire you and give you confidence in birth. All women and babies deserve a positive birth experience. So let's get cracking on today's episode. Hello, and this is the trailer for the My Positive Birth podcast. Thank you so much for being here. This is just a little intro to explain what the podcast is going to be about, what motivates me to make it, and also asking you to make sure that you subscribe and tell others about it so it can grow and grow. I think stories are a really powerful way of learning and growing. We know that from childhood, don't we? I've got 3 primary school aged children now, and they use stories loads at school, but actually they can be just as helpful to adults too, both to tell your story, but also to listen to others telling their stories. But I don't know if you've noticed that all too often in pregnancy, people want to tell us horror stories about their birth. And actually that really reflects our current cultural expectation that all birth is risky, it's dangerous, and it's something that women and babies need to be saved from. But I believe that that is a narrative worth challenging. It's something that I started looking into when I was pregnant and have become more and more passionate about as I've dwelled in the birth world, learnt more about birth. So this podcast is a space to come together and hand down wisdom from one mother to another of how it is possible to have a positive birth and the difference that that can make. And the title of the podcast is very specifically My Positive Birth. And by that, I don't mean my own personal birth. That would be a little bit egocentric. But I mean that the key to all of this is the family at the very centre of the birth. And what a positive birth meant for me in my circumstances will almost definitely be different to what it means for you. But research and also just common sense tell us that whatever your actual birth, be it a hospital birth, a home birth, a free birth, an induction, a cesarean, a water birth, it's having choices, it's being respected and listened to, feeling safe and having confidence in yourself. Those are the things that lie at the very heart of a positive birth. And I'm going to be honest, I really hope that this podcast will be a place for honesty. But if you're giving birth in the UK today, so in 2022, it's not as easy as it should be to find those elements. Confidence is a big one. The system, if the system lacks confidence in women's bodies, then it's hard to find it for yourself. And also choice, feeling safe, feeling respected. It's not as easy to find those things as we might hope. But it's not impossible, and that's why it's so important to have spaces to come and surround yourself with positive birth stories, to listen, to learn, to be encouraged that the same can happen to you. So to do this, I'm going to need some positive birth stories, and I know that they're out there. So if you are listening to this trailer and you have had a positive birth, perhaps whilst you were pregnant, you listened to other stories graciously handed down to you as you prepared. If that's you, then please do get in touch. I'd love to hear from you and to give you a platform to tell your own story. You can get in touch with me on my email, which is lisaharrisdoula@gmail.com. And I'm also going to pop that email address into the comments in the podcast blurb. I really love women. I love birth. I am a woman who was transformed by the power of positive birth. And so I can't wait to share these stories with you. I know they're going to be powerful. I know that they can have a really positive impact. So what are you waiting for? Subscribe to this channel and you'll be notified as soon as we're ready to dive in to season 1. Bye for now.